Mitch with DrywallInstruction.com. Let's do a quick segment on paper tape versus fiberglass mesh tape. This is an important topic because the products that you use when you're taping, doing a taping project, are really important to the results. And so this was an interesting topic for me. I did a quick review of videos on the internet, and I found that the do-it-yourselfer type people that really don't know what they're doing, but for some reason do drywall videos, are about 90% love fiberglass mesh tape, and they all tell you to use it. And I'm gonna kind of present a little bit of a different scenario or a different view of the two different tapes. I'll let you decide once I give you the facts what you want to use, and then tell you how to, give you some ideas on how to use either of them the right way or the best way. This video series or video project has been interesting for me because opinions are many in the construction field. And so I'm basing my instruction on the 27 years that I have experience and what I've seen work and what I've seen not work. I go into a lot of situations where I see people use paper or mesh tape, and I see where they make mistakes, and so I can help you prevent some of those mistakes. It was interesting to me that the manufacturers themselves of both mesh tape and paper tape will tell you that the strengths tests show that paper tape is stronger and performs better. Many people will tell you that fiberglass mesh tape is a better product because of its movement, because it can move. That principle is flawed from the beginning because drywall mud can't move. And so the principle that the mesh tape moves around in different ways is incorrect. I have, at the same time, had engineers tell me do the specs on jobs, tell me that I have to use fiberglass mesh tape in certain scenarios. That's actually I've only had that happen once, and so, but he claimed that it was stronger and was a better product. And so I think when the manufacturer does the tests and they tell you what's good and what's bad, that's probably a good source. But for me personally, I prefer using paper tape. And I'll give you a little explanation of why. But first, let's talk about mesh tape and why people think it's convenient. So mesh tape is a product that has a sticky side to it. And so if I come up on this wall, their case for me is going to be that they don't have to mess with paper tape and mud and everything to get their tape down. They can just put their fiberglass mesh on and stick it to the wall and cut it with their knife, and they are ready for to coat their sheetrock. And they are right to that extent that it is that step is easier, but the problem that you run into the problem with the flats is that when you coat it with mud, it's really easy to sand down into the fiberglass mesh tape and fray it and mess it up that way. The alternative to that would be put a whole bunch of mud on it and then not sand it. Then you have an issue with having a hump for your seam. A lot of times I will, on a job, when I go fix something, they will have used mesh tape, they'll have sanded it down, and when I press on that wall, it actually cracks. And the manufacturer's test itself said that that cracks will appear a lot easier. The other challenge is if I'm using it in a corner setting, then I have to, for example, I'll just cut a little piece here. I have to press my tape into that corner, which is a little awkward to begin with because it doesn't go clean into the corner like the paper tape that creases. And when I tape this, when I coat this with my knife, if I do it side by side, if I use a corner trowel, which I don't, you may be able to avoid this a little easier, but when I wipe that with my knife chatters as it hits that fiberglass mesh. when I sand, it's a little more challenging to get a square corner with my mud because of that as well. And so, so those are a couple of the challenges to fiberglass mesh tape. It does appear easier. It is tempting. And so many people that were do-it-yourselfers on the video said, this is the best thing since sliced bread. And I just think that that it can be quicker, make the taping process quicker, but I think that in the long run you'll find some challenges with it. So just really quick to explain again, if you're going to use mesh tape, make sure that you coat it liberally, and when you sand it, that you're very careful not to sand down into the mesh tape. And also with cracks, a lot of people will say this is the strongest for cracks, and it doesn't change. The principle doesn't change with cracks. Paper tape has more structure to it, and provides more strength even on cracks. And again, I see that all the time because I'm going in and repairing cracks that were repaired before improperly. So real quick with the paper tape, like I've showed in my hand taping segment, but I'll just review it real quick. The correct way to use paper tape is to put your mud on the seam and wipe that mud back out. And the benefit to that is when you're done with that, you've got a nice smooth surface as opposed to that fiberglass mesh tape that's kind of rough and not so even. And so I like it for that reason. In my angles, in my corners, I like paper tape because I can put my mud on and I can press my tape into the corner. The paper tape has a crease in it, and I can press that in with my fingers. I can wipe that tight. I can have a nice square uniform corner to coat. So when I coat, I can the side of my knife goes right up against that tape and makes a really nice even joint. So these are just a few of the principles associated with paper versus mesh. I am a fan of paper tape. You can speed up the process, and I have a segment on using a banjo. A banjo is a taping tool that does the work, and I haven't changed the mud in this, so but it does the work for you, and I'll show you in my segment. You can actually just roll the tape through your banjo, put it on, and wipe it without having to put the mud on first and put your tape on and then wipe it. So look for that segment on banjos. Hopefully this is helpful to you. Again, the products we use in our taping projects are critical to the success that we have. I hope you'll continue to follow us here at drywallinstruction.com.